What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. I hope that you all are doing well. In today's video, I'm doing something fun and exciting. And I'm going to be showing you guys all the Jodi Picoult books that I have. If you've never seen my face before, hi, my name is Vangi. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button to join the family. Make sure to hit the notification bell so you get notified whenever I upload. And without any further ado, we're going to hop right into today's video. So, first, I want to preface this by saying I love Jodi Picoult. If y'all couldn't guess, I love Jodi Picoult, and I remember the first book that I ever read by her was one of the ones that I have actually, and I borrowed it from a teacher. Actually, I had 3 language teachers at this time. One taught me English, one taught me Afrikaans, and the other was the other Afrikaans teacher but wasn't teaching my Afrikaans, English. I meant English. The other was the other English teacher, but she didn't teach my class until I was in the next grade. Then I was in her class. And at this time, I was in grade 10, and it was in 2014. And I think in 2014, I was probably 16. Yeah, I was 16. So they introduced me to Jodi Picoult. I think I borrowed 3 books from them. Was it 3 or 4? I'll tell you. Maybe 4 or 5. And it wasn't like at the same time. No, it was definitely more than that. But anyway, I'll let you guys know. So then I've been obsessed with Jodi Picoult since then. And I remember reading her books and thinking, oh my goodness, I need to have these books in my own home, right? And at the time, I was already a little obsessed with books. Like I said in last week's video, that I really enjoyed having books because my mom kind of introduced me to books. So I knew I wanted to have Jodi Picoult in my own home. I was like, I need to have every single Jodi Picoult book that I have read. So at that time, I think I had read about maybe 4 books of hers. And I knew without a doubt that I wanted to have those. And now I'm on my way to making that work. It's just not my home, it's my mom's home, but still it's working. And I'm very proud to say that all these books that I'm about to show you guys were all either bought secondhand or gifted to me. I think the most expensive one was probably around 80 or 90 rand, maybe. First of all, there are 3 main sizes in the Jodi Picoult book thingamabob. I'm pointing this way because this is where I have the towers. I wish I could show you, but I feel like if I try to move you guys, you would topple over. And I don't want to move that closer because it would topple over. But there are 3 main sizes. This is the first size, which is the small ones, right? These are the small ones. And then the second size is this one, which I did not know of until I started collecting Jodi Picoult books recently. And then the only size that I knew was this one. And this is quite big. This is very huge, especially in comparison to like this first one. See how big that is? That's very huge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the smallest one and go into the bigger ones, right, all the way to the very huge ones. And all of that will be in alphabetical order. So each size will be in alphabetical order. So we're going to start with the first one. This is Salem Falls. Salem Falls is about, I don't know if you guys have read The Crucible. Anyone who's read The Crucible, it's that Salem. It's that Salem Falls. They talk more or less about that. So it's about that. That's the vibe. I don't want to ruin it for anyone who has not seen it, but there's a little bit of that. There are people who are practicing witchcraft, but that's not the main story. That is not like the one single story that is going on in this book. There's a bunch happening. Okay, this was the second book that I read by Jodi Picoult, and I read this book, I want to say it was either in grade 10 or grade 11, because when we started reading The Crucible and they talked about Salem Falls, I kind of was like, oh my goodness, I remember this. Yeah. Anyway, that's the first book. I don't know if I'm going to put these books as I'm going through them. And then there's another one that is a little bit of an odd one out, which is also crazy because it was not published by Harder, which, if you guys know anything about Jodi Picoult or have read a Jodi Picoult book, you know that almost all her books, if not all her books, are published by her. And this book is called Second Glance. I read Second Glance also in high school, right? And the book that I read was also published by Harder. So when I saw this one, I thought it was kind of weird. I've never seen this before. This is published by Washington Square Press. I guess it's like a special edition print or something. It says it's for the book club. So I guess the Washington Square Press has got a book club, and this was printed for said book club. But at second glance, it's... What do I remember about this? What I remember about this, because I have not read this since high school. It's been more than 10 years since I read this book. What I remember about it is a woman falling in love with a man. And I remember a scene where the man speaks French and does not know that the lady knows how to speak French or like understands French, and is very embarrassed when he realizes that the lady heard everything that he said, which is insane. It's so embarrassing. I had secondhand embarrassment reading that part, and I still remember that part. There's also a bunch of racism going on in this book, unfortunately. Then we come to the second size, the actual size, one of the second sizes that I showed y'all, and these are also going to be in alphabetical order. Do not fall. Don't you dare fall. Okay, cool. I brought them closer. This is a Change of Heart. I also read Change of Heart back in high school, and what I remember is that there was a guy. Oh, actually, this book messed me up for real. It was during a time that I was still finding myself, like in with regards to religion and Christianity and where I stand, because I grew up in a Christian household where we went to church, we prayed, we read the Bible every single night, and I was taught to pray every single day, all these things. And I was introduced to agnostic Christianity when I was reading this book, and it messed me up for real, because I was like, oh my goodness, where do we go from here? It was crazy, but it was cool. I hate this sticker, by the way. I want to remove it, but I'm afraid it's going to not go away very well. But I remember this, and this book taught me about sacrifice, and it gave me such a, I don't know, I feel like in a sense it fueled my curiosity about religion, not gonna lie. And for the record, I'm still Christian. I believe in the cross of Jesus. I'm more Christian now than I was back then. I believe more in the word now than I did back then. Next book is Harvesting the Heart. I have not read Harvesting the Heart. I got it, I want to say earlier this. I think everything here I got this year. Yeah, it was everything here I got this year. I don't know anything about Harvesting the Heart, but I'm excited to read it. I guess a child is left by her mom. I don't know. I don't want to read the synopsis because I'm currently reading a book that I'm 2 seconds from DNFing, and I feel like if I read the synopsis of something else, I'm going to want to just move on to that. Next is Mercy, which I've also never read. Mercy. I don't know what happens in this book. Somebody dies. Somebody dies. Next is My Sister's Keeper. I don't know anything about My Sister's Keeper except that there is, I guess, a girl who is constantly used to help the sister who I guess is sick and needs all of those. I will not be reading the synopsis again. Next one is the one that made me cry. This is called 19 Minutes. I personally have not read this copy that I have. I read it from our public library. I want to say last year or the year before last year. I read it from the public library in town. And this book had me gasping. This kind of touches on the topic of gun control. If anyone pays attention to what's going on in the US, I feel like we're all doing it against our will at this point. I feel like it just comes up, but it's about gun control, more or less. There's a child basically who is bullied and ends up unaliving everybody who bullies him, and then there's a plot twist in the end that had me shook to my core. But yeah, reading this as an adult made me realize that I wanted to go back and read some of the books that I read in high school as an adult, because I felt like as an adult I had a better appreciation for Jodi's book. I think back then I was too young to really grasp everything that was happening. I was still a child. And now as a grown up, I'm like, oh, that's a lot. Yeah, 19 Minutes was good. I absolutely recommend that everybody reads it. And then next is The Pact. The Pact is the very first Jodi Picoult book that I ever read. And basically these teenagers, I guess the teenagers that are pictured here, they make a pact, and it is a suicide pact. So they make a pact that they're going to unalive themselves. One goes first and the other goes next, but doesn't work out quite as well, and the guy is taken to court and accused of murdering the girl, and it is a whole thing. I feel so sad. This made me feel sad. This book made me sad, and so much fell apart when that girl passed. It was wild. But yeah, you guys need to see it. Next is Plain Truth, which I don't know. I don't know what Plain Truth is about. Given this, I guess it's some possibly religious trauma book, and I'm excited to read this. Oh, they're Amish. Probably that. I have not read it. Next is Perfect Match. Perfect Match had me angry. Had me so angry, because it has to do with children, a child, not children, but we don't know how many children have had this happen. But a little boy is basically abused in a Catholic church, and it's a whole thing, and there's so much drama surrounding it, which I don't know how Jodi does it, but Jodi Picoult writes the bestest books ever, and the drama in her books are always just jaw-dropping. They have me on the edge of my seat all the time. Next is Songs of the Humpback Whale, which this, fun fact, is Jodi's first ever novel, I guess. I don't know if it's the first ever story that she published, but I know this is the first novel that she published. She wrote this when she was 25, to the best of my knowledge, and the two characters in this book are 15 and 35, and they're mother and daughter, and they end up falling in love with two men who are 25. It is a whole thing. It is a whole thing. It is so well written. I read this in high school as well, and I still remember most of the storyline. I still remember what happened. And the reason they talk of the humpback whale is because her husband is a researcher, a professor, something along those lines, who researches the humpback whales. And yeah, it's a whole thing. It's so cool. It's so cool. Everybody needs to read it. Small Great Things is next, and I have never read Small Great Things before. I don't know what happens in this. This is the one book, the one Jodi Picoult book that I've never even been curious to read the synopsis of, even though I kept seeing it and kept missing it. I think I got this one at the secondhand shop. Some, I don't know. I think this one, no, it doesn't have a sticker. Doesn't have a sticker, so I probably got it in a gift box, or got it somewhere where they were all in a box, you know. Like, I didn't get this from a business. This means, because a lot of the times if I get something from a business, they have stickers either with the branding of the shop, or they'll have a sticker that is a certain color. But yeah, Small Great Things, I don't know what happens. The child passes on, I guess, and there's a lawyer and a nurse. I'm willing to bet that they fall in love, or they have, yeah, I think they're gonna fall in love. I don't know. Knowing Jodi, that could happen. Next is The Storyteller. The Storyteller has got to be one of the most interesting Jodi Picoult books I have ever read. I want to say, I also do not read this copy. I read a copy in the library. And it's basically about a grandchild where the grandma survived the German man. You know, the grandma survived the German man from that one time when they had people, you know what I'm talking about, you know, that one. I don't need to go into details. Next is the 10th circle, which the 10th circle I read back in high school as well. And for me, the 10th circle was a cautionary tale. Now, I was never a popular person. I don't think I was popular at all in high school. And the girl in here is a bit popular and has a boyfriend. And the things that happened to her in this book made me feel like, you know what? Maybe it's a good thing, because what if I lose my mind and the kind of things that happen in this book happen to me? My favorite thing though that I kind of learned from this book and take with me everywhere I go, like it's a lesson that's just stuck in my head, is how differently the two guys that she met treated her. Like the one treated her like she was just, whatever, and she freely gave herself to him. And the other treated her with such care, you know? He was so loving, so gentle with her, and I thought that was really cool. But the 10th circle, I read this back in high school. And at the time, I took life sciences in high school, so that's like biology, and we learned a little about genetics. And this is the first, I want to say this was the first piece of media that where I learned about mitochondrial DNA and how it is passed on from mother to daughter, from the mother basically to the child. And if the mother only has sons, then the mitochondrial DNA just stops there. But like my mom, her mitochondrial DNA came from her mom, and then she passed it on to me. If I have a daughter, she'll have my mitochondrial DNA. If I don't have a daughter, then this is where it stops. I thought it was pretty cool. And so every time I think about it, I should talk about it a lot with my mom. And I'm like, oh my goodness, me. And then I'll point out one of my girl cousins who have daughters, and I'm like, me and their child, we have the same mitochondrial DNA. Last but not least is Vanishing Act. Vanishing Act is also nice. A lot of trauma, and I really loved the female main character in this book because she was really a boss and she really stood up for her child, which I truly enjoyed. And it was like nobody stood up for her when she was young until it was a little too late, quote unquote. But she stood up for her child before it was too late, and it worked out perfectly. But also, there's a little bit of a love triangle going on in this book, and I thought that was very interesting. Yeah, I had not expected, when I started reading this, I didn't expect it. But then as soon as I started reading it, I was like, oh my goodness, why is she with him? I would have rather been with the other one. But yeah, that happened. And that is the last of those medium books. So now we're about to start with the last chunk. And these are the large ones. And they will also be in alphabetical order as with the others. I'm kind of excited that I'm at this point, but I'm also like, oh my goodness, we're almost done. I'm sad. But we're going to carry on. Next book, this is the first of the big ones, is The Book of Two Ways. And I have no idea what happens in this book. I'm going to guess that the person in this book gets to catch a glimpse of what their life would have been like had they maybe not taken a certain path, or maybe a different career or a different decision. I want to guess that, and I wonder, I don't know. That's what I think. Hold on, let me see. I guess it's more or less that, but I'm not going to ruin it for anyone or myself. Next, we've got Handle with Care. I know nothing about Handle with Care. It's such a thick book, but also not the thickest that I own. This is a very thick book, and I'm excited to read this. I guess someone is sick. Yep, someone's sick. Next, I've got House Rules. I also know nothing about House Rules, but how absolutely beautiful is this? I kind of want to replicate this. But this is knit, and I don't knit. I crochet. Maybe I should learn to knit, or maybe I should make this and copy the colors and just crochet it. I think this is pretty cool. I don't know what it's about. Somebody has Asperger's, which, if you guys don't know, it's like autism, but you're considered high functioning, much like myself. Next is Keeping Faith. I have no idea what Keeping Faith is. They put a plastic cover on here. So it's just, look at that, that layer. Anyway, I don't know what this is about. Someone is named Faith. That's cool. That's interesting. I can't wait to read that. And then next is Leaving Time, which I also have never read, and I don't know what it is about. Somebody disappears, I guess. There we go. Somebody disappears. I don't want to read the whole thing, but I'm just skimming through it. Somebody disappears, and I know she's got a few short stories that kind of go along with this. I actually have them noted down somewhere, because I did a little bit of my research when I decided that I wanted. Yep, it's Where's the Smoke and Larger Than Life. I guess they like little novellas or like short stories that go along with this. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to find them, but it's okay. My goal was to get the novels. Next is Lone Wolf. I don't know what Lone Wolf is. If I'm going to guess, I would guess somebody is likely a loner, or yeah, they're definitely a loner. Let's just see what happens here. Nope. No, that's not it. Somebody's in the hospital, which I wonder if they are a little bit of a loner maybe in the beginning. I don't know. But they get sick, they're in hospital, the family's devastated. Next is Picture Perfect. I also have never read Picture Perfect. I don't know what Picture Perfect is about, but knowing Jodi Picoult, it's probably something like, oh, on the outside, this family or this person looks like they're doing very well, or that X, Y, and Z is working out for them, but in reality, it's not really working out. It might be that. Let's see. Interesting. Not what I thought, but this sounds even more interesting. Next is perhaps the book that I loved the most, and also the second book that I read this year. I actually reviewed this book. I did not read this particular copy. I read it from the library, but it looked exactly like this. This was the exact book that I read. And when I got it, because I had already seen the smaller ones, I was wondering if it was one of the smaller ones, but it is the bigger ones. And this is the size that I read at the library, the same cover and everything. Just without the sticker. I hate the stickers. Like, why do people put stickers? You know what? I want everyone and all publishing houses to put the book inside a little plastic wrap and put the sticker on the plastic wrap. Stop putting the sticker on the actual cover of the book. I hate that. But something that I hate more than this is when they put fake stickers. So you think it's a sticker, but it's actually printed on there. I hate that. I hate that so much. But anyway, that's a small thing. This book, I already reviewed. I don't want to go too much into it. This book had such an impact on me. The woman in this book is a music therapist. And they end up with a woman who is a school guidance counselor, in the sense that they work together. It is such a cool book. If you are Christian or religious in any way, shape, or form, and you've been deconstructing religion or deconstructing the way you were taught Christianity or the doctrine or the doctrines, you need to read this book. I definitely appreciated it because I've been going through a deconstruction phase for a long time. Because sometimes what is real is not exactly what is taught in various churches. So this book was really impactful. Loved it. Then another book that I got today, which is A Spark of Light. I never knew that I would ever see this book in this size, because every single time I saw this book in stores, which was mostly in Crazy Store, was this size, right? And I'll show you guys what it looked like, because it was definitely not this cover, not this color exactly. So I'll pop up a picture and show you guys which one I always saw and wanted to get but could not get. And then I saw it in one of our thrift stores, and I wanted to get it, and I still couldn't get it. And then the next time I went and had money for it, it just was not there anymore. Somebody had gotten it, and I was sad. And the very last book, before I show you guys this, make sure to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button right now. It is Wish You Were Here. And I knew this cover. This is the only cover that I knew for Wish You Were Here, but I'd never seen this size before. I've only ever seen this size. Again, see the difference. I've only ever seen this size, but the same cover. So when I got them today and they were this big, I was like, oh my goodness, that is so interesting. But yeah, that is the last of it. Those are all my Jodi Picoult books. I love Jodi Picoult, and I do have 4 more novels that I need to get. So these are 25. I need to get 4 more to complete all my Jodi Picoult novels. There are other short stories, I guess short stories or novellas, I'm not sure. And she does have 2 other books that I could get, but they're not novels, and my goal was to get all her novels. I still need Between the Lines, I need Off the Page, I need Mad Honey, and By Any Other Name, which I suspect it will be a little bit of a task to try to get By Any Other Name and Mad Honey secondhand, because those are the newer ones, right? Off the Page and Between the Lines, I have been struggling to find even brand new copies of. And I don't want to buy brand new copies. I want to get secondhand, because everything that you just saw was all secondhand, either purchased or gifted. And I kind of want to keep up with that. Most of my books are actually secondhand or gifted. So yeah, I like that. I really like that. So for me, it's like rescuing a book that was pre-loved. Somebody liked it. Now they're like, oh, okay, I had my time. I had my fun with it. Now it's gotta go. So I get to rescue them. It's lovely. I like it. But yeah, those are all the Jodi Picoult books that I have. I don't know who else I'm going to be collecting. I do have quite a bit of Julia Quinn, but I have Julia Quinn because it's Bridgerton. So I have all 9 books and then 5 books that are like the spin-offs. So it kind of makes sense that I would have a lot of Julia Quinn, but she's got too many books for me to try to collect right now. That is a task for older me in my 30s at some point. Definitely not now, definitely not next year. I couldn't. I've also never even touched any one of those. Is it 12? It's 14. Any of those 14 books by Julia Quinn, I have never even touched them. And I think I'm going to tell myself that I'm not allowed to buy anything except Queen Charlotte. Queen Charlotte, I guess I can buy. But until I read at least half of them, I'm not allowed to buy anything else by Julia Quinn, because what's going to end up happening is what's happening now with Jodi Picoult. So as I was saying, I haven't read any of these books, any of these copies that I have here with me, which I don't want that to happen with Julia Quinn. I will get to my Jodi Picoults. I think actually I want to pick up a Jodi Picoult book in the new year, because I do have already a book that I'm currently reading which I dislike already. I don't know, I'm gonna give it a chance though. And then I have a book lined up for Christmas because it's Christmas themed. And yeah, anyway you guys, thank you so much for tuning into today's video. Make sure to hit the subscribe button to join the family, and hit the notification bell so you get notified whenever I upload. Make sure to also follow me on Instagram, on TikTok, and on Twitter at _Spangela_. And also follow me or add me on your Snapchat if you're one of those people. And all my other links will be linked down below, including my Goodreads. I love you all so much, all the way to the moon, around the sun, and back again. Bye.